Hello dear students, welcome to the another video tutorial of Mammalian Histology. Since last session we are engaged with the respiratory organs histology of the respective organ. Okay, so in last session we have seen the anatomy as well as the histology of trachea, which is also known as the windpipe, and its location and the openings after the nasal opening is going to open into the trachea, and that windpipe is going to conduct air supply towards the lungs. Okay, so in the further respiratory system, now for today we will engage with the distinguishing features and the histology as well as the anatomy of the lungs. Okay, so the lungs are paired, highly vascularized, and fill the thoracic cavity over the thoracic cavity. Okay, so they are structure of the lungs highly elastic. They are spongy. Okay, they are divided into many lobes. Okay, the number of lobes varies in different mammalian species. As species changes, the number of different lobes for these lungs are changes. Okay, so in man there are right lung has four main lobes and left having the three lobes. That means the right lung is quite bigger than the left lung. Okay, and it having the four lobes. One lobe is extra in the right portion of the lungs or the right part of the lung. Okay, so the surface of the lung is covered by serous membrane. The that serous membrane is known as the visceral pleura. Okay, and that visceral pleura, as you see in this picture, okay, having the three parts that are nothing but the visceral pleura, the inner part, then the parietal pleura, the last part, and in between them there is the pleural cavity. Okay, that pleural cavity helps lungs to shrink and to expand. Okay, they are providing the space for the expansion as well as the shrinking. When the when a human going to inhales the air, the lungs going to expand because the air concentration is increased in the alveoli. Okay, and then this visceral pleural cavity is also engaged with some mucuses. Okay, that are filled with the mucuses. Okay, that mucuses at the time when uh, you are suffering from the cough. Okay, cough and cold, at that time when your lungs are having the viral load or the some bacterial load in your lungs, that are the in the diseased condition or the in the viral infections, at that time when it's suffering, it not suffering but it having the defense mechanism to filled with the mucus. Okay, so as you can see, the lobes of the lungs that are the um, that are divided, uh, that are the four lobes in the right side and three lobes in the left side. Okay, so that the bronchi that two main bronchi that are nothing but the left main bronchi as well as the right main bronchi. They further divides into the furthermore bronchi, the sub branches that are the middle lobar bronchus in the right lung. Okay, then the superior upper lobar bronchus, that will be the upper part of the right lung is having the supply of air by through the superior upper lobar lung bronchus. Okay, then will be the inferior lower lobar bronchus for the left lung also and the right lung also. The inferior side of the both lungs are having the air supply through the inferior lower lobar bronchi. Okay, so in the superior upper lobar bronchi at the left lung, you will see just beneath the left lobar bronchi, there will be the superior upper bronchi and inferior lower bronchi, as well as the third main branch will be in the third lobe that will be covered by the left main bronchi as well. Okay, so we have seen in last session the larynx, the carotid cartilage, this from the carotid cartilage to the carina, that are nothing but the that V, which is going to divide that trachea into the two bronchus. Up to there is the portion for the trachea. Okay, and that trachea having the cartilaginous rings, their structure and histology we have seen in last session. So in today's session we are engaging with the lungs. Okay, so the main right lung has four main lobes and left having the three lobes. Okay, so the surface of the lung is covered by serous member, and that serous member is nothing but the visceral pleura. Okay, why the serous member? There are the serous secretions are secreted by means of some cells over there. Okay, so the each lobe of the lung is divided by thin connective tissue that are nothing but the septa formed by these thin connective tissue into the large number of the functional unit over there, and that large number of the functional units called as lobules. Okay, and if we having the just look over here at the just how that lung surfaces look from the its backside. Okay, so you will see the two main bronchus. Okay, then you will see the pulmonary arteries and pulmonary veins. Okay, so we will just don't confuse in between the pulmonary artery is colored with the violet color and why the pulmonary vein is colored with the red color. So there during the blood supply in the lungs. Okay, so the pulmonary artery is going to provide the deoxygenated blood supply to the lungs, and the pulmonary veins are supplying the oxygenated blood supply from which is exchanged in the lung. Okay, and that oxygenated blood is carried from these pulmonary veins towards the heart again. Okay, and pulmonary arteries carrying the deoxygenated blood from the other compartment from the heart, okay, to the lungs for the to get the oxygen supplies over there. So you will see the pulmonary ligaments which are holding these two or these are three main supplies, okay, and that are connected by means of this hilum, okay, which is the pulmonary ligament. Okay, you will see the root uh, and the bronchus and all these things. You will see the differences between the right lung and the left lung. Okay, so don't confuse in between the pulmonary artery as well as the pulmonary vein. Okay, so the plan of lung, that how that the uh, lobules are divided and what are the specifications of those lobules we will see in this text. Okay, so the primary lobules that are trachea is divided into two primary or the principal bronchi. Okay, that two main bronchi what we have seen in last slide. So where it enters the root of the lungs. Okay, so then it get divides into the secondary bronchi and further that secondary bronchi get divided into the bronchioles. Okay, so the alveolar duct gives rise to alveolar sac and alveoli, the connecting spaces between the alveolar duct and alveolar sac is connected by means of this atrium. Okay, so atrium is the muscular part which is going to connect the alveolar duct and the alveolar sacs. Okay, and the primary lobule of this lung. Okay, so it is the functional unit of the lung and made up of the respiratory bronchioles. Okay, so it contains the alveolar duct, the atrias, alveolar sacs, and alveoli associated with the connective tissues of this primary lobule. They are also having the blood supplies, blood vessels over here, the lymphatic system and the nervous system, the nerves are also present over here. Okay, so as you can see, the several bronchioles, the terminal bronchioles going to form one more respiratory bronchioles over here, and each respiratory bronchiole going to divide into a number of alveoli ducts further. Okay, so that the respiratory bronchioles and alveolar sacs that in the primary lobule, okay, so they are having the under light microscope, the respiratory portion of the lung shows the less work of large spaces and that are separated by the septas of the lobules. Okay, and when you are further going to the respiratory bronchioles, okay, we will show you the respiratory bronchioles over here. Okay, as you can see in this picture, in the first part of this picture, you will see the cluster of the alveoli and their blood supplies. Okay, so the cluster of the alveoli and their blood supply are shaded that the uh, capillary network around the alveoli, you can see those small bunches like grapes, okay, and that are covered by means of this capillary network around the alveoli. That are small grape-like structures are nothing but the alveoli, okay, where that sac is filled with the air and gas exchange happen over there. Okay, so we will see the bronchioles at the uh, upper part of this picture, that bronchioles and the pulmonary arteriole and pulmonary venule. Okay, so the pulmonary arteriole is shaded with the blue color and pulmonary venule is shaded with the red color. Okay, so these bronchioles further divides into the terminal bronchioles just below that, and that terminal bronchioles are divided with these respiratory bronchioles. Okay, that's the third segment. Okay, and that respiratory bronchioles it differs from the ordinary bronchioles. Okay, as it has no cartilage and epithelial cells of these respiratory bronchioles are cuboidal and non-ciliated. Okay, so the goblet cells are present. Oh, sorry, goblet cells are absent over the respiratory bronchioles over here. So in case of the trachea, the goblet cells were present. Okay, so in case of these respiratory bronchioles over here, the goblet cells are absent, and the wall contains the collagenous tissues with the elastic fibers and the smooth muscles. Okay. Then, as we move further, the alveolar duct. Okay. Just you will see the structure of an alveolus, then the alveolar duct, that are the ducts which connect the alveolar with the respiratory bronchioles. Okay, that alveolar duct is respiratory bronchial divides into a number of alveolar ducts. That respiratory bronchioles further divided into the number of the alveolar ducts, that are nothing but the number will be the 2 to 11 in number. Okay, so which thin passages containing the flattened epithelium cells. Okay, so the duct forms many branches and lead into the alveolar sac. The wall of the alveolar duct contains the smooth muscles bundles. Okay, then the reticular and the elastic as well as the collagenous fibers are also present in the alveolar duct. Okay, to provide the uh, supply for the to provide the rigidity as well as the elasticity for that sacs. Okay, and the atrium is the space between the alveolar sac and ends of the alveolar duct, that connected by means of this atrium, that is muscular uh, uh, muscular portion. Okay, and as you move forward for the alveolar sacs and the alveoli, okay, so you should shift towards the structure B of this particular picture. Okay, what you are going to see in this structure, that is the one single alveolus. Okay, and that alveolus going to show the respiratory membrane, where the gas exchange actual happens. Okay, and that structure for the respiratory membrane is shown in the further slide, that will be the C, that will be the structure of the respiratory membrane. Okay, and what you will see in the structure of a one single alveolus. Okay, that single alveolus contains the great alveolar cells. Okay, they are also contains the alveolar macrophages. Okay, and that lumen, that empty space is vacant for the purpose of the gas just in and out of that gas. Okay, when the you are going to respire air, at that time this single alveolus going to fill with the air, and at that time at these the respiratory membrane, there the oxygen exchange happens, where it is the actual site for the gas diffusion or the oxygen and carbon dioxide diffusion. Okay, so you know that the diffusion occurs from the high concentration to the low concentration. As we know, the less oxygenated or the non-oxygenated blood is not having the carbon dioxide concentration is higher over there, and oxygen concentration is lower. And in air which is inhaled, there will be the concentration of the carbon dioxide will be less, and in the deoxygenated blood there will be the concentration of the carbon dioxide will be more. And then these gas exchange happen over here from the high concentration to the low concentration. Okay, so the structure of a single alveolus, let's come toward the point. So these are extremely thin walled structure arises from the alveolar ducts. Alveolar sac contains two or more alveoli. Okay, and the wall of the alveolar sacs contains no smooth muscles, but they have the elastic and reticular fibers over here. This is the important point in the alveolar sacs in the alveoli. So the wall of the alveolar sac contain no smooth muscle but have the elastic and the reticular fibers present over here. And that elastic and reticular fibers are providing the extra space for these single alveolus to expand, okay, to provide the elasticity and to get contracted. At that time, these reticular fibers plays important role over here. Okay, so the alveoli or the alveolus is a cup-shaped structure through the thin walls are present over here, and that thin wall is interchange of gas between the blood and air take place over these thin wall structure. That will be the C structure. That is nothing but the structure of the respiratory membrane over here. Okay, and that structure is the made up of from the elastic and the reticular fiber structures. Okay, that membrane. So the month of each alveolus opens, that the mouth of each alveolus opens into an alveolar duct, okay, an alveolar sac, okay. So the wall of a septum between these alveoli compressed with the capillaries, and that reticular and the elastic fibers, okay. In between two alveoli, a minute pores called the alveolar pores are present on these respiratory membrane. Okay, so which are helpful to allow the air in the adjacent alveoli. So they are about 10 to 15 micron in diameter. Okay, so the lining of alveolus contains squamous respiratory epithelial cells that are also called as a small alveolar cells and great alveolar cells, okay, that are divided by the septum of cells. Okay, so in the next session, so the respiratory bronchioles, it differs from the ordinary bronchioles. So it has no cartilages and the epithelial cells are cuboidal in the, and they are non-ciliated cell over here. So what happened in case of the trachea, where they are presence of the ciliated and the cuboidal cells were present over here. So the goblet cells are present in the respiratory bronchioles and the alveolar ducts and the sacs. So they are, as I said, they are the respiratory bronchioles and are divided into number of the 2 to 11 cells that are the alveolar duct and which laid into the alveolar sac over here. Okay, so the alveoli, they are cup shaped, as I said. The points are mentioned over here. So the alveolar membrane is the site of the diffusion, actual site of the diffusion in the alveolar sac by this membrane and from the pores are present from the membrane. Okay, so the distinguishing features for the lungs. Okay, so the presence of the alveolar duct over here, which is providing the space for the uh, for air as you inhale and as you exhale. Okay, and alveolar sacs and alveoli are present over here. Okay, so the alveoli pores are present on the alveoli membrane that going to help for the diffusion from the higher concentration to the low concentration of the each particular gas. Okay, so the alveolar membrane contains the respiratory epithelial cells and numerous capillaries networks are present on each alveolar. Okay, and that are providing the connections in between that deoxygenated blood is converted into the oxygenated blood. and that RBCs are filled with the oxygen, and then again they are um, carried to the heart to get pumped, and that oxygenated blood again get getting the way running from the various number of the capillaries and um, venules, okay, to reach each cell, and that each cell is supplied oxygen from which is coming from the lungs, which the their journey starts from the lungs and ends to the each cell of the body. Okay, so the alveolar phagocytes or the dust cells are present over here, the macrophages what we have seen. Okay, and that alveolar uh, phagocytic dust cells present in the alveolar walls. So these cells are more in number from a normal person to in the which person is smoking. Okay, so these numbers are increased if a person smoking the cigarettes. Okay, so these cells are having the load on them to get that ash kicked out from your lung. Okay, so that the more space is provided for the exchange of the gas. Okay, so we will stop here, and we will meet in the next session for the blood vessels and the spleen. Okay, so we have seen the we are completed with the respiratory organ structures. Okay, and we will meet in the next session. Thank you.